Congresswoman, a lot of these folks in here say they have been door knocking themselves. They have been in the trenches campaigning for the last year for the Congresswoman, who is supposed to arrive here within the next couple of minutes here. Any minute now, she's expected to come in here. We know that she spent her day going to different polling locations, thanking her supporters, but there's a lot of unknowns here, a lot of questions on what the Trump factor will do for her. You know, she distanced herself from the top of the ticket after that TMZ video was released. So how will that fare with independents? A lot of questions we don't know, but we did speak with the chairman of the Republican Party here in Virginia, and he seems very optimistic. Take a listen.
The turnout's different. With a presidential race at the top of the ticket, everything's different. So we feel pretty good about where she's at. She's overperforming even the top of the ticket in a lot of precincts.
And we talked to a close friend of the Congresswoman who tells us that she is feeling good tonight. Back to you.
Thanks, Megan. Those polls in Maryland have been closed for nearly an hour and a half now.
Bureau Chief Tracy Wilkins joins us now from Silver Spring with the race for a congressional seat. The 8th District, Tracy.
Tracy, you're up.
We are here at the Tommy Douglas Conference Center in Silver Spring. This is Democratic headquarters here tonight. We are paying close attention to what's happening with the U.S. congressional races in the 4th and 8th District. So far, we are still waiting for numbers on what's going on with Anthony Brown. We are waiting for those Prince George's County precincts to start to report. But because of some of the voters who got in after 8 o'clock, those numbers are coming in very slowly. We do know that Jamie Raskin is leading right now, 77 to 19%, with 7% of the precincts reporting. Jamie Raskin, the Democratic nominee for Maryland's 8th Congressional District, is joining Anthony Brown, the Democratic nominee for Maryland's 4th U.S. Congressional District, along with Senate candidate Chris Van Hollen, who is expected to win tonight, projected to win tonight, and so we can call him Senate-elect now for Maryland. We talked with Jamie Raskin earlier tonight about why all three decided to be here together to celebrate. He said that this is about the Democrats starting to come together as they ran these campaigns in preparation for what they hope will happen for Maryland. Reporting live in Silver Spring, I'm Tracy Wilkins. Back to you on the studio.
Thanks, Tracy. We invite you to stay with us. As the results come in, we'll also be sending out breaking news alerts on the NBC Washington app.
And we'll join you again right here live with another update in about 25 minutes. Back to NBC News now.
We are back now from our NBC News Election Center in New York. This is a very tight race between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Many states right now are too close to call. As I think we all suspected, it is going to be a long night. Let's go through some of those states right now and show you where things stand. First of all, as we look at the popular vote right now, Trump at 50%. Florida right now continues to be too close to call, 141,000 vote difference there. Michigan, it's emerged as a very important state down the stretch, 28,000 vote difference. That is too close to call. Ohio, too close to call. You see the difference there. That could go way, way into the night or early morning. North Carolina, too close to call, 56,000 vote difference. Let's look at Georgia. This Hillary Clinton drawing close there down the stretch. That is too close to call. You see the difference on the screen there. New Hampshire. New Hampshire right now is too close to call as well. A 1,700 vote difference with 22% of the votes in. And Pennsylvania, this is where Hillary Clinton wound up her campaign with that big rally with the Obamas last night. 156,000 vote difference, 16% of the vote in. And the guy that's watching the minutia of this and trying to understand and explain it to us is Chuck Todd.
Well, so you said we're looking at 140,000 vote difference. We get 94% in. Most of the vote is left is in Miami and Miami and Broward. There's more vote in Broward left than Dade. She's winning this 67-31. The bottom line is this: how much vote is left and what percentage does she win it by? If there's 400,000 votes left, okay, and I'm just going to do it this way. There's 400,000 votes left and she wins it 70-30, she'll net 140,000 votes. That's assuming all that. Now let me go back to where Florida is. Whoops. Sorry about that. Show you the total vote here in Florida. It's about 140,000. My point is this. I don't know if there's enough vote left for Clinton to win, and I don't know if Trump can hang on. we are looking at a Florida. I don't think it's going to be closer than 537 votes, Nicole, but it is going to be less than a percentage point at this point.
And then it becomes,
we just don't know.
And then it gets down to what was your strategy without Florida? Each of them had one. She, going into this,
that's right,
had a better
look when it goes
more roots.
Right. No, if him with Florida and it's a straight shot, he can do Michigan. He doesn't need both Michigan and Pennsylvania. Never mind, by the way, we still got North Carolina sitting out there that's too close to call. Virginia is too close to call. New Hampshire sitting at too close to call. So look, it is. I can tell you this: if you're the Clinton campaign, because of the way the rest of the map looks, you don't want to see Florida go red yet.
And Nicole, if you're the Trump campaign right now, you're starting to feel signs of life?
Well, you're saying I told you so, in that this was a lot closer than any of us, I'll put myself in this category, myself alone, but than I thought, and that the polls reflected. I think the amalgamation of polls showed Hillary Clinton this morning with an 85% chance of winning. This doesn't feel like that kind of night. And Trump supporters, and I know this because I have several of my family is divided right down the middle, generationally actually, between Trump supporters and Clinton supporters, they felt like there could be a Brexit effect. And we don't have enough information to know if that's the case, but this definitely will, if she wins, she will not win it running away. And if he wins, he will prove just about everybody who does what I do wrong.
And we should say, I mean, the surprise factor is we knew that we weren't going to have a call this early in the night. It was going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, the Clinton camp thought they did. I mean, I have to say the Clinton campaign for the last at least 72 hours has been projecting a lot of confidence.
But here's why. I mean, the Trump campaign didn't have the same turnout operation as the Clinton campaign. And we saw some of the demographic groups. And I think what everybody underestimated was the rural vote coming in as high as it did. And you know what? I think we have to start to say maybe whether it was I don't want to say it was a hidden Trump vote. I just think we didn't have our weights correct. And we didn't realize that he was going to bust through the caps, essentially, of turnout caps in those ruby red counties, and even in ex-urban America.
You know, from the beginning, Donald Trump has been running from the ground up, not from the top down. I mean, he's tapped in to all those people out there who are feeling disenfranchised. I was looking at Iowa the other day. It used to be a very progressive state. Yeah. You know, it was a state of Harold Hughes, for example, and John Culver and Dick Clark. Now it's a very conservative evangelical state because they're very uncomfortable with the cultural shifts in this country, not just the economy, same-sex marriage. They're not happy about that. They're not happy about a lot of things that are going on. So they've moved into the right, and Donald Trump came along and tapped into all of that by going down at the bottom level and working his way up. And the fact is that he has astonished everyone from the very beginning of all of this, including the last 48 hours. However this turns out tonight, it's going to be so much closer than anybody could have realized going in.
We ought to bring up what's going on with Dow futures right now. Yeah. I mean, that is just all of the stock markets around the world are cratering.
Margin calls.
Yes.
Everyone. I've had a note from somebody saying, you know, they're beginning to sell off because it went the other way in the last 24 hours, by the way.
When everybody thought she was going to win.
Yeah.
That's right.
By the way, there's a popular website where people can put together their own electoral maps called 270 to Win. As far as I can tell, it's crashed right now. I think everyone in America is like, they're starting to.
How does this work? There's no Florida. What's the path?
Everybody wants to be Chuck Todd.
You got to talk to the master here. He can walk you through it. Let's get to Rahima Ellis on the ground in Raleigh, North Carolina. One of the many places that's going to keep us here late, Rahima.
Absolutely, Lester, and we're at a watch party for the incumbent Governor Pat McCrory, and with me is the executive director of North Carolina Republican Party, and I'm talking with Dallas Woodhouse. This is a toss-up state. How are you feeling? You got butterflies in your stomach?
I feel more nervous than a fish at a fish fry, so no question about that. However, we are in a great position at this point in the evening. Urban areas tend to come in sooner, and Mr. Trump looks like he's well on his way to win. The governor's race is going to be close, but the governor just went up. Normally, once you go up more than halfway across, you don't go back down. I will just tell you a couple of things. We were up, as Republicans, 100,000 votes over 2012 at the end of early voting. The Democrats were down 22,000.
That's the early voting, but now you got the voting today.
Well, right, but you have to remember that Republicans win Election Day. Democrats win early voting, and they did win early voting.
And that's what you did in 2012. In 2008, Barack Obama took this state. You think that Trump is going to take it? Quickly tell me.
I do believe that we're going to win Trump, Burr, and McCrory tonight. Close races, but a good night for Republicans.
They're cautiously optimistic here. Lester?
All right, Rahima, thanks very much. Let's go to Mariana Atencio right now. She is in Miami right now with a family who is nervously watching these results in Florida, where things are extraordinarily tight.
Lester, I'm here with several families. In fact, at this local watch party in Miami, many of the people you see behind me are undocumented. Some are voters, and as you can imagine, the mood here grew incredibly tense as these results started to tighten. Like many Latinos across the country, for many of the voters here, their main motivation was what they call the Trump effect or the Trump factor, mainly the Republican candidate's stance on immigration that crystallized the issues for so many Latinos. And as you have been covering throughout the night, we have seen a record turnout by Latinos in several battleground states. Here in Florida, a 75% increase in early voting by Latinos compared to 2012. But just the fact that Donald Trump appears to be leading in the polls now just brought back the issue of immigration to a gathering like this one you see behind me. It is not the only issue Latinos care about, but it is a very personal one, and you can see it right here. Many of these families holding hands, they even held a prayer not too long ago as they anxiously await these election results and fear, Lester, their families could be split up if Donald Trump, in fact, wins the presidency.
All right, Mariana, thanks very much. I think we are at a point in the evening. It's time to revisit. I'm going to walk with you because it's time to revisit this.
What if map here?
Yeah, the route to 270.
Yes. Well,
and Florida was such a big part of it.
Let's for now, and we're just going to do it. We're not projecting anything. We're just going to give it. Okay, so let's say Trump's leading there. He's leading in Georgia. He's leading in North Carolina. He's leading in Ohio. He's sitting at 248. Let's assume Arizona sits at 259 there. He's not leading in New Hampshire. We do have this Nebraska situation. I don't know why we haven't.
It's split.
It's split, but it should be. He's already gotten those that we are aware of. So let's do
Nevada's
that
sitting out there.
Here. Nevada is sitting out there. We're going to keep it. So that's what's sitting here. But this assumed Michigan. So watch. You just flip Michigan here. Now let's give her New Hampshire for now. She does. There is some work there, and then you look.
But he's over the top.
He would be over the top with a Michigan at this point. She needs one of these states. Let's put back North Carolina. That would do it. But as you can see here, now Michigan. Look, take Michigan away, and it's a different situation. But this is what we're staring at. It doesn't take long, by the way, and we know there's some interesting things on Twitter. It doesn't take long to get you to 269. I could do it right here by simply moving Colorado, and then you would have here. I don't know why we have 3 extras. I think Nebraska's gotten messed up on our map here, so we will just neutralize them. But that should be red. It's already counted in the total here. So, point is, this is precarious. This map is suddenly 50-50.
And you know, both sides are doing exactly what you just did.
This is no longer, if he sweeps those two and Ohio, and we're looking at Michigan as too close to call, and then suddenly we could be sitting on Michigan, could be sitting on Colorado. I mean, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be, if you're a junkie, it's going to be a fun night. I mean, we are dividing up this map in ways that we haven't seen. 269 is in play. This feels a lot like 2000, Brokaw.
This story is writing itself. You okay, Tom?
Yeah.
I got the smelly salts right.
You got it. You're right.
I brought my old script with me, so it's okay. I can just go back to that.
I may need to borrow it. We're going to take a quick break. We continue to monitor those states that are still too close to call. We'll bring them to you as soon as we get word from our decision desk. Could happen anytime. You'll want to stay with us. Our Decision Night in America coverage continues here on NBC.
That's why if elected, I will protect Brett.
Alexa, ask Kayak how much is a one-way ticket to Canada.
When would you like to fly?
Now.
Alexa, order more AA batteries.
Okay.
Alexa, ask Uber for a ride.
Can a car be crafted instead of produced? Designed with attention and care to give a feeling that stays with you. At Mazda, every detail matters because driving matters. The all-new 3-row Mazda CX-9.
Once upon a time, in the depths of your own cupboard, lived eco-friendly products waiting to be discovered. Some had audacious claims on their labels of green, and all looked alike until new Tide Pure Clean. That label's not green, it's purely just chic. Then why is she using it week after week? They realized then it's not the label that flatters, but the power inside is what truly matters. New Tide Pure Clean, 65% bio-based, 100% cleaning power of Tide.
When history is in the making, wake up to everything that counts, only on Today.
You're gonna be late for practice!
I told you I don't want to go!
What is going on with him? Going to practice was never a problem before. He even stopped hanging out with his friends. Is it just a teenage thing?
If you're concerned about your loved one, Crisis Link can help you.
I know something is terribly wrong. I need to make that call.
That's a view of Democracy Plaza outside our studios at 30 Rock here in New York on what is a dramatic night that has even more drama on top of it. There's the national vote total right now. The popular vote, Trump ahead 47%. But folks, this is a night about the battleground states. We knew it would be, but it is far closer than many imagined. Florida right now, too close to call, 139,000 vote difference. Let's look at the state of Michigan here that Clinton was forced to defend down the stretch, a 50,000 vote difference, too close to call. Ohio, a perennial battleground state, too close to call. You see the difference there. North Carolina right now, an 84,000 vote difference, too close to call. Same story in Georgia, a state that Clinton was hoping to turn blue, very close there as well, too close. New Hampshire. Look at New Hampshire right there. 1,300, 1,400 votes separate the two of them. And Pennsylvania, also too close to call, the state that Hillary Clinton made her big finish last night. A lot of drama here on this night. And in the race to 270, here's where things stand based on the projections we've made so far. 137 in the Trump column, 104 to Hillary Clinton. And there's the map right now unfolding on the rink below us. That's a swath of red, a lot of gray still to be unfinished, which will tell the story of this night when they are filled in. But right now they're not, and the biggest one hanging out there, literally hanging out there, is Florida.
And I have to say, I think this looks good for Trump.
In Florida?
In Florida. I think with what's left, it just depends on how much is left. And Nicole remembers this mythical 50,000 vote box or something and switches. So, you know, there's going to be, but as the Broward vote has continued to come in, we're now at about 80% of the Broward vote is in, and she has not narrowed that gap.
And there's nowhere else in the state that
there's
that
not
she can
a
pick
lot
up.
left. You know, look, one precinct in Miami can be worth can have 100,000 votes in it. So that does happen in those big counties. So you don't know for sure, but I don't think she needs, as I said, she's still behind 140,000 votes. She needs to hope there's, I keep saying, 400,000 votes remaining and she wins them 70-30, or 500,000 votes and she wins them 65-35. But I don't know if there's that many votes.
What about the other too close to call states?
We still got a ways to go here. North Carolina, you still have a ton of, there's just too much vote out to say. I mean, I take the Republican Party spokesperson Dallas Woodhouse's word for it that, you know, you'd rather be Trump than Clinton right now, but still too much. I can tell you in Virginia, I think if we can go down and show Virginia right now, it's narrowed to like 11,000. And this one is now starting to look like she is likely to end up getting what she needs here. As you see, it's now 10,000, but we're still waiting for a bunch of Fairfax, Northern Virginia. And she'll likely win Virginia, but by the smallest of margins, and we have to wait to see if these folks actually turned out. But Virginia is trending her way narrowly, okay? But we may be, we mess around with that. It may be Michigan. Michigan is going to be the linchpin. If he wins Florida and North Carolina and Ohio, We're going to be sitting here waiting on Michigan.
And Lester, nobody was talking about Michigan 5 days ago.
I wouldn't discount Pennsylvania yet, but I still would rather be her than him.
All right, let's go to Hallie Jackson now. Hallie?
Hey, Lester, I'm joined here by filmmaker Michael Moore, who has spent months really diving into the mind of the Trump voter. You are a Hillary Clinton supporter, but you have predicted what we are seeing with Donald Trump, particularly in Michigan, for months.
Well, back in the summer, I wrote an essay called The Brexit States,
Right.
Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, that the working class that has been so abused and attacked and their livelihood taken from them over these last really couple decades, they're at the point where they're so angry and full of so much despair that I could see that they were going to use the ballot box as an anger management exercise.
You've called it a middle finger to the establishment.
Yes, or Trump being their human Molotov cocktail that they just get to throw into the system today and blow it up, only to find out a month or two from now how regretful they're going to be, because he's not only going to blow up the system, he has no idea how to rebuild it.
So when we talk about a state like Michigan, which came on sort of late in the game as a really important battleground, when we're seeing what we're seeing there tonight, which is this state incredibly close and potentially a turning point for Donald Trump, you're a guy who knows Michigan pretty well. Are you surprised by that?
Not at all. No. I mean, this has been my fear. I've been trying to tell people we have to put special focus on Michigan, on Ohio, and Pennsylvania. These are the people I grew up with. I know what's going on here. They're being manipulated by a con artist. That's what Donald Trump is. He has not told them the truth. He's not going to bring their jobs back, and he's a dying dinosaur. His way of doing things, and that's the old America. We're into the future right now.
Michael Moore, thank you very much. Former Bernie Sanders supporter, now a Hillary Clinton supporter. Lester, we'll toss it back to you over on the other side of our election center.
All right, Hallie, thanks. Up next, we're going to get a live report on the ground in what is perhaps the most surprising battleground state of the entire election. Plus, we're awaiting poll closings in 4 more states, including Nevada. Stay with us.
The successful millionaire Howard Hughes.
Billionaire, not millionaire. And what the hell happened to the close-up of me in the cockpit?
From Academy Award-winning director Warren Beatty.
Hi, I'm Frank.
Hi.
If anybody working for me wants to strike up a relationship with one of our actresses, I have to fire her.
Warren Beatty, Lily Collins, Alden Ehrenreich, Annette Bening, Matthew Broderick, and Alec Baldwin.
You do know why Baptists think sex is bad? Because it might lead to dancing.
Rules don't apply. Rated PG-13. In theaters November 23rd.
Why am I so devastated? Lee Handsome? I'm in a fragrance ad, and my sweetheart's gone sayonara. This scarf, all that's left to remember.
What? She watched this like a month ago. How's the guy supposed to move on?
The long-lasting scent of Gain Flames. Timeless is Monday's #1 new drama. Travel back to 1972.
I look like Greg Brady.
And the greatest presidential scandal
Watergate
of all time.
Nixon was secretly recording people.
I would give anything to hear that tape.
I need you to do something for me.
We're not getting the Nixon tape for you.
You have an hour to save one of their own.
Do not give him what he wants.
She will sacrifice history.
He'll kill Wyatt.
Lucy, don't!
Timeless, Monday, 10/9 Central after The Voice on NBC.
As we come back from a break, this is a picture that Ivanka Trump tweeted out a short while ago, seeing Mike Pence and Donald Trump and the family and staffers watching returns here, like the rest of us, trying to figure out where this is all leading. Let's go to Katie Tur at Trump headquarters. Katie?
Quite confident in where they stand at this moment. They still concede that this is going to be a tight race, but it's looking even better than it ever has, frankly. Their eyes are on Florida right now. Two Donald Trump sources are telling us, Florida operatives, excuse me, are telling us that it's a nail biter, but that they will win it. They're holding their breath and they're waiting on more results from Broward County. A source in Virginia tells us to watch out for Virginia Beach. They believe that they could see quite a bit of turnout in that area.
area after they go from Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, and Iowa. Then they're going to go on and keep their focus on Michigan. If they can turn Michigan, they are going to feel very confident about this race. They have said for quite a while now that they believe Michigan is a state that is particularly susceptible to Donald Trump's message, his jobs message. They believe it's one that cuts across demographics, one that it won't matter what race you are. You'll want to vote for jobs rather than vote along party lines, and they believe that they're going to be able to do that.
All right, let's go to Andrea Mitchell. She is at Clinton headquarters. How are they reading these numbers, Andrea?
They are about as nervous as every other Democrat around. I mean, look, this place is so down. They're playing videos and also coverage. Now there's a cheer that's gone up because they see some movement in Virginia. Virginia critical, as you know. They were waiting to see what was happening in Fairfax County and in Richmond. But the fact is that the results in Michigan and in Ohio and in Florida are really depressing the mood here. That's the first cheer I've heard here basically all night for anything other than an East Coast state like Rhode Island or Connecticut, pro forma. The mood here is very, very depressed and nervous. And the fact is they're going to have to look back at what they didn't do. They had a 2-to-1 spending advantage on air, on television, a 5-to-1 advantage in terms of paid and volunteer staff. They had a much bigger ground game across the country, pulled money out of Virginia and Colorado, and they've got a lot of thinking to do about what is happening here tonight if this thing does go against them.
All right, Andrea, and that crowd, we heard them applaud a minute ago.
Officially,
let's put up
the Virginia board
if we can.
First time that she took the lead, and that's what they were looking at.
Move forward there.
There it is. There, she took the narrow lead, and I can just tell you my own history of doing this. We know where this is headed, but wow, it's close.
She had to work for it.
That's right.
All right, we're quickly approaching 10 p.m. in the east, 7 o'clock out west. Polls about to close in 4 more states. Stick around. Our Decision Night in America coverage continues on a dramatic night here on NBC.
This is a special Decision 2016 update from News 4.
Well, we start with some breaking news. News 4 is calling Northern Virginia's 10th congressional district. This has been a tough contest. Republican incumbent Barbara Comstock is projected to win, defeating Virginia Democrat Lou Ann Bennett.
Also, keeping a close eye, as is everybody else in this country, on the race for the White House. And as it regards Virginia, still too close to call. Let's take a look at the very latest numbers now. With 90% of the vote in, Donald Trump with 48% of the vote to Hillary Clinton's 47%. We are told that some of the Northern Virginia precincts, though, still have not reported their votes yet. Our team in New York tonight covering the Trump and the Clinton campaigns. Big crowds as supporters gather to witness history as is unfolding. Beginning with Jim Hanley at the Javits Convention Center with the Clinton campaign. Jim?
Vance, I got to tell you, you just talked about Northern Virginia. Virginia in general, they've been watching the Jumbotrons, faces and phones here too, like everybody at home. When they put up Fairfax, this crowd went wild. They erupted. I got to tell you, for the past 90 minutes, 2 hours, there has been a tension and anxiety in this hall, holding about 5,000 people. They've had to put up some campaign videos because most of the states that they've seen coming in, she is behind. They've been having to put up some, videos of Hillary Clinton to pump up the mood in this room. They are starting to fill up the stands. The fact that some are empty, we know why, because Hillary Clinton is still about 1.5 miles away at the Peninsula Hotel with her husband, former President Bill Clinton, her daughter Chelsea Clinton, watching the returns come in with some close aides that have stood by her side for years. And then she will come over here to the Javits Center. Outside, we have about 10,000 in the overflow, and they've been waving flags, cheering when states go Clinton's way, booing when they go Trump's way. One of the other loud moments this evening was when she won her state of New York and he lost his state of New York. We've heard from Chuck Schumer. I just saw former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm making the rounds in this press area here. So they've got their surrogates out here, Michigan, another state to watch right now. but we're starting to hear some applause because they know everybody's going live and they want to project some confidence, the kind of confidence we've been hearing all day today until some of these returns came in. We'll be back live here from Midtown Manhattan at 11.
All right, Jim, thanks. Our coverage continues in New York tonight.
Chris Lawrence is across town at Trump election headquarters. What's the mood there, Chris?
Well, Doreen, Jim, they don't have to project confidence. They are confident, and the numbers that they're seeing are making them as energized as I've seen them all day. We have been talking to Trump supporters literally minute by minute, and you could tell every half an hour that this war on and that some of these states were not called, were just getting their hopes higher and higher and higher. Let's take a quick peek inside the ballroom at the Hilton Hotel behind me where Trump's election night party is going on. I can tell you, I've been speaking with some of the supporters inside there who are saying, look at some of these returns in some of these rural counties where Trump is outperforming Mitt Romney by big margins. They say that bodes well for places like Pennsylvania and Michigan that he would have to flip to have a chance. And as for the Trump campaign itself, they say they are very encouraged by these early numbers. Right now, they are all about Florida. Donald Trump just got back from visiting his war room, getting a firsthand analysis of where these numbers sit and where they could be going in the next hour. Back to you.
Thanks, Chris. Tom Sherwood joins us now. Tom, and we're looking at Virginia once again. What's going on there? What are we looking at?
Well, we're looking to see if Fairfax County, which had about 30 or so more precincts to go with a lot of votes, are whether that Northern Virginia will save Hillary Clinton in the state of Virginia. The Virginian Democrats generally run up a big margin in Northern Virginia. It looks like they've carried Loudoun and Prince William County, which are bellwether counties, battleground counties. But Trump has run up his margin in the Shenandoah Valley and far southwest Washington. And the Democrats are doing okay down in the Hampton Roads area. It's classic three-corner offense for the Democrats. But right now, this is much closer than all the polls have shown. You know, it tends to be that polls over credit Democrats in these races and always are much closer. But even given that, it's a very close race in Virginia, and we'll just be watching these last few. It could be that Fairfax is the word for this whole campaign in
terms
Virginia.
of what the votes are there.
Right. And can I mention statehood real quick?
Yeah, sure.
In the district?
Right.
In statehood, it's won overwhelmingly, but if the Republicans keep the U.S. Senate, that's the end of the road.
It won't matter.
Right. All right. Thank you, Tom.
We invite you to stay with News 4 as more results come in. Also, we'll be sending out breaking news alerts on the NBC Washington app.
And we'll be back here again live with another update in about 25 minutes. Now back to NBC News.
Welcome back, everyone. It's 10 p.m. in the east, 7 p.m. in the west. We're live from NBC News election headquarters in New York, and this, folks, is a razor-thin race for president. Many states too close to call. The polls have just closed in 4 more states. Let's take you through what we have as you look first at the national vote total. Looking first at the state of Iowa, it is too close to call. Nevada, too close to call. Utah, too early. Keep in mind that's a three-way race with McMullen in the race there in Utah. Montana, NBC News projects that Donald Trump will win in Montana. And we can perhaps take a look now where we stand in that race to 270. And here's where it stacks up right now. Based on the projections we've made so far, Trump with 140, Clinton with 104. We're also watching, among the many states we're watching where things are close, the state of Pennsylvania, as we take a look right there at the map. But if we can move out, I want to show you what's happening in Pennsylvania, because we want to go to our correspondent there, Kate Snow, who is with both Trump and Clinton voters. Kate?
Hey, Lester. Yeah, we are right outside of Philadelphia, Montgomery County, which we said earlier is kind of an area that you really need to watch in Pennsylvania. And it's interesting, we're in a bar, obviously. We got a lot of Trump fans here. I was talking to Lisa before. Tell me again, you were telling me that you didn't even want to put a sign out in front of your house because you're a business owner. But now, how are you feeling right now?
I'm so excited. I am just beyond excited because now you can outwardly say, this is the guy I wanted, this is the guy who spoke his mind, this is the guy that's going to fight for us.
Why did you vote for him? Why? You've been working for him as a volunteer. Why?
Yeah, because he's going to take our country back. There are different things that, again, as a business owner, you want to just taxes, Obamacare. There are just all these different.
And you said to me earlier that you felt like he says the things that other people don't say out loud.
No, they don't. And people say, well, he said this about women, he said that. What is he said that I don't hear other women saying about men? Women talk about men all the time and have said worse than he's ever said.
Lisa, thank you. We got a whole table full of Trump supporters, but let me pivot over here. We actually asked some folks to move over here who voted for Hillary Clinton. How are you feeling? You're watching the TVs in here. The sound isn't up, but you can see what's happening. How are you feeling?
A little bit nervous. I'm a little bit surprised about Florida being so close. I don't want it to go back to a Bush-Gore thing where they have to recount the votes, but I really think it's going to come down to Florida.
Everybody's nodding along at the table. Nobody wants a recount again, myself included. I was in Tallahassee for a long time. Tell me why you think this county Montgomery County might go for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, I'm actually from Illinois, but
okay. You're from Philly. Okay, well, we got a mixed crowd in the bar, but why did you vote for her?
Oh, well, actually, I didn't vote because I'm not American, but I'm a Hillary supporter.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Lester, I would say it's very loud in here. There's a DJ playing behind me, so folks can't really hear all of our coverage, but we've got it all on the screens, and people are glued to the screens. And just a note about Pennsylvania and where we are, we're hearing that the lines were so long in some places that people are still voting. Even though polls closed technically at 8 o'clock Eastern time 2 hours ago, people are still in line. In certain parts of the state, I'm hearing Adams County, I'm hearing around Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia, there are still lines out there. Lester?
34% of the vote in Pennsylvania. Clinton in the head. Kate, thanks very much. We have another projection coming in. I'm told it's New Mexico. NBC News projects that Hillary Clinton will win the 5 electoral votes in the state of New Mexico. Let's go to Hallie Jackson right now, who is digging deeper into some of these numbers on this very, very tight race right now in the exit poll.
And Lester, we're looking at 3 key battleground states right now, states that are extremely close in our battleground map. Let's start with Michigan, because we've been talking about that all night. We want to focus on what's driving this close race in these states. And in Michigan, at this moment, our exit polls are showing it appears to be white voters without a college degree. Look at this column here, the Republican candidate. The Republican candidate in 2012 got 55% of the vote. Donald Trump right now is doing better, up 6 points. So he is overperforming the Republican from 2012, Mitt Romney. And look at the Democratic candidate, of course, Hillary Clinton. In 2012, Barack Obama, the Democrat, got 44% of the vote. She is down 13 percentage points from that position, from where they were in 2012. So that is really what we're looking at and what we're sort of diving into when it comes to Michigan. I want to pull up Pennsylvania now because we're taking a look at the age gap, right? Voters in Pennsylvania under the age of 30, the so-called millennials, if you will. They're turning out, they're breaking out for Hillary Clinton by 55% to 39%. It is the flip, the reverse of that, when you look at voters over 65 going more for Donald Trump. He's got about 50% of the vote. She's got 48% of the vote. And then in another key battleground state, we want to look at the race breakout in Florida. Let's pull it up here. Those voters in Florida who have a favorable opinion of Donald Trump. Most white voters in Florida do have a favorable opinion. 1 in 4 Hispanic voters roughly have a favorable opinion, but only 1 in 10 black voters feel that same way. And this demographic here, the African-American vote, the Hispanic vote, that is going to be crucial to what we see in Florida when it comes to turnout. I did speak with one source close to the Trump campaign who said, hey, we are not getting crushed with the Hispanic vote right now, and that is a good sign for them. Lester?
Hallie Jackson, thanks. Back to our panel. And joining us now is Mike Murphy, an NBC News political analyst who served as senior strategist for John McCain's first campaign for president in 2000. And Mike, nice to have you here. For those who thought this was going to be an early evening, you say.
Yeah, anything but. I thought it would be an early evening. I thought Florida, a state I worked a lot, and most of the political hacks on both sides thought it would be a 2 to 3 point early defeat for Trump, and that would set the tone. Instead, Florida now is going to be hard.
Mike, I'm going to ask you to hold off again. Yep. We have another call here in the state of Missouri, and NBC News projects that Missouri will go to Donald Trump. Donald Trump will win. And let's look at where things stand right now. There's a Missouri call, and let me show the where we stand in the race to 270. There it is right now. Trump at 150, Clinton 109. The race to 270. Mike, I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What's interesting about Florida is the pattern is unlike anything I've seen in Florida politics before. You get a more urban Republican area like Jacksonville, Duval County. Trump's doing horribly. He's doing under Romney in the bigger Tampa counties. But you go north of Tampa to the exurbs, he's off the charts. He is breaking the meter like numbers we haven't seen before. And that's moving the whole state to a point where, well, I believe it'll tighten. There's more of her vote out than his. Yeah, I don't think she's will be able to make it.
So far, he hasn't won anything that we didn't anticipate. But you, Chuck, you're punching the numbers in Florida. You think?
Look, there's just not enough. I just, maybe there's some extra vote that we don't know about. And again, I stress that happens. And I remember vividly in 2000 the 50,000 vote error that was discovered late. So, don't forget those things happen here. But you look, and there's trickles that are left. Almost every county is reported. What's out is there's only one county that's out that's more favorable to Trump. Polk has a little bit. But Volusia, which is Daytona, essentially, and that's basically a 50-50 county. There's a lot of Volusia out, but that's not enough for her to gain ground. It's Palm Beach, Miami, and Broward.
Right.
Is there enough vote out there left in those bottom three counties for her to close this gap? But I have to tell you, the gap grew again. She got it down to 111,000, and then it's back up to 130. So I don't see the path forward for her in Florida. And so now, listen to this. Last time a Democrat won the White House without the state of Florida was Bill Clinton, 1992. So maybe she's got that karma going for her. I don't know. And the last time you lost Florida and Ohio and still won the White House was John Kennedy.
But her other paths carry her through some of these other states that are too close to call right now.
Yes, but we're looking at a situation here, I think, that it's Michigan. I really do. That at the end of the day, we're staring at Michigan. I go through this. Pennsylvania, she probably does eke it out. We'll see. She has to do that, but we're looking at Michigan being
what is so fascinating is nobody was talking about Michigan until about 5 days ago.
Except Michael Moore. I'll give him that. He has been screaming about it,
right.
To his credit.
Right, to his credit. It is his home state. We all like to talk about our home states. We look at Chuck with Florida, but I mean, Trump, they saw something going on in Michigan. They sent him there, and people were saying, what? And then the Clinton team added a stop. President Obama was there.
Can we put Michigan on the screen to see where we are?
Somebody's done a lot of governor campaigns in both Florida and Michigan. There's one difference. Michigan has rural counties that are more Democratic in many places compared to Sunbelt and southern states.
They have been.
Yeah, they have been. Will Trump really turn that over? And will Detroit vote and Flint what it normally does, or will it be under enough that Trump's overage in some of these places will make it? And Trump is doing well in some of these smaller counties right now at the beginning, but there's a lot of Michigan still out. It's going to be tight.
What has been totally underestimated by those of us in the so-called pro-establishment and the people who have been looking at this is the depth of the anger. The depth of the people saying, I want to change. I don't care if I have to pull the pin on a grenade and roll it across the country. Whatever it takes, we want change, and we want big change.
But the other thing we did, and I have to say this, is that I think in general, and the biggest critique on the establishment, and I throw the media in here, as well as the two political parties, we've overlooked rural America a bit too much. And I think in hindsight, I said, everybody's been talking about the changing demographics of America and the changing face of America. That's all true. But we've forgotten about rural America, and rural America is basically saying, hello, they are screaming at us to say, stop overlooking us. We're not ready to have just 21st century fly by us.
But some of this has been hiding in plain sight. I mean, Donald Trump came in with a message that is very distinct and very different from Republican orthodoxy, from Republican, the way that the Republicans have always run as free traders, and they love free trade agreements. And if his message is resonating, this is where it was going to resonate. If it was going to make a difference, this is exactly where. So in some ways, ultimately, it's not surprising that now we're focused like a laser on this section of the country.
And building a bit of a new coalition with that economic populism. But will it have long enough legs? We'll see.
Yeah, well, we still have hours to go here. And by the way, if you have a restaurant that delivers breakfast, I'd call them right now.
Joining us now is conservative political commentator and host Glenn Beck, founder of The Blaze. Glenn, nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Give us your take on what is happening here, because things are a lot tighter than many had imagined tonight.
Yeah, a lot tighter than I imagined as well. You know, I think what Chuck just said was exactly right on the money. We have not listened to, you know, I think Chuck said the heartland, but I don't think we've listened to each other at all. And I know I've been at fault on this. In the last couple of years, I've really tried to analyze myself and analyze what I've done and what I do. And we don't listen to each other, and we don't trust each other. And, you know, the media, that includes me, that unfortunately, Tom, includes you. I can't believe it would, but it does. That 34% of Americans trust any of our voices. And that is because they view us as speaking down to them, pontificating, telling them, and not listening to them, declaring who they are. It's difficult for me to consider myself a conservative or to consider myself a Republican tonight. If this is what a conservative or a Republican is, then I'm not part of that. I don't want anything to do with that. But I understand why people are feeling this way when you have, what is it, 60% of the people who voted for Donald Trump don't like that they're voting for Donald Trump, and 54% who are voting for Hillary Clinton aren't happy about voting for Hillary Clinton.
So at the end of this, are you going to have a lot of orphan voters, people that feel, like yourself, that don't feel they have a place?
I think the majority feel that way. Even those people who voted for either one of these, they're not happy with it. And so I think on both sides, the parties have to realize now, boy, we need to start reflecting the people and listening to the people, because the people are entering a time, as we're seeing tonight, beyond reason. They're not listening. When you get into so much fear or so much anger, you know, the mind's mechanism is just to shut down reason. And they're not listening to reason. And we have got to find our way to each other. My goal in the next year is to meet with the people I think I disagree with the most and not try to talk them into anything, not try to have an argument with them. Yep. I just want to listen. I want to be able to say, is this what you believe and why you believe it? And when they say yes, then we could even begin to have a conversation. But at least for me, that's a year away before I could have a conversation. We have to start listening to people.
Glenn
if
Beck.
we don't, we're in trouble.
Glenn Beck, good to have you on. Thanks so much for spending some time with us from Dallas there. We continue to monitor the close races still up for grabs. We're waiting more poll closings. Stay with us. Things remain razor thin right now. We've got more coverage of Decision Night in America next.
Decision Night in America is sponsored by Amazon Echo.
Alexa, ask NBC News when is Inauguration Day?
Inauguration Day is Friday, January 20th, 2017.
Enable the NBC News skill on your Amazon Echo to enhance your election night experience.
That's why if elected, I will protect Brett. Alexa, ask Kayak how much is a one-way ticket to Canada.
When would you like to fly?
Now.
Alexa, order more AA batteries.
Okay.
Alexa, ask Uber for a ride.
Okay.
People always say, let's just get a sandwich or something. You don't just learn how to drive or solve the world's problems, be a dad or something. And we don't just make sandwiches or something. We hand slice avocado, pull smoked chicken, bake fresh focaccia, and craft every sandwich clean from top to bottom. There's nothing or something about it. Panera, food as it should be.
I am aware that I'm surrounded by people who feel that they could do the job better. Strong people with powerful characters. But there comes a time where one must draw a line in the sand. The world has changed. And for better or worse, the crown has landed on my head.
Thursday Night Football, Thursday, only on NFL Network.
Our country spends a lot on healthcare, but are we reinvesting in the future? What about developing a 21st century healthcare workforce to meet the diverse needs of patients? Supporting medical research to discover new cures? Prioritizing prevention to reduce chronic disease? Sharing actionable data to improve patient care? It's all part of building a modern, high-performing, simpler healthcare system. Learn more about these ideas at unitedhealthgroup.com. United Health Group, built for better health.
Welcome back. A view of the Ring Democracy Plaza. The map slowly filling in. We are waiting for a lot of states too close to call. It's a nail-biter of a night. The race to 270. You saw the numbers there. I want to show you a tweet that Hillary Clinton put out a little bit after 5 o'clock this afternoon. It says, I'm going to try and read it from here. This team has so much to be proud of. Whatever happens tonight, thank you for everything. That, by the way, was before any of the polls closed, but that again from Hillary Clinton. We're also watching the Dow futures right now, reacting to this night. The Dow futures down 625 points right now as investors continue to watch what's happening here. This race a lot closer at this point in the night than many people had anticipated, and it's going to keep us up all here quite late tonight. A lot of states too close to call. Let's go to Kristen Welker right now at Clinton headquarters. Kristen?
Lester, good evening. I've been talking to top Clinton campaign officials and her top surrogates, and they say they're not panicking. They still insist there is a path to win, even if they don't hold Florida or Ohio. Not that they are conceding those states. The path for them, the states that they are focused on right now, include Michigan, Colorado, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Lester, we've spent so much time talking about Pennsylvania. That is her firewall. That's where she held that massive rally last night, more than 30,000 people joined by the Obamas and, of course, her husband, that big unity rally. But I can tell you that I've been talking to Democrats who were invited here to what they were hoping would be a watch party and victory party, and they are candidly acknowledging that they have begun to get nervous, that this is a very close race. They were anticipating that, but obviously it's turning into a much closer race than they had hoped for. The mood here when this night initially got underway was ebullient. This crowd was breaking out into cheers throughout the evening. Now it has become much quieter. Those moments of cheering have become fewer and far between. But again, they still think they have a path, and they are very focused on the state of Michigan and Pennsylvania at this hour, Lester.
All right now, as you see on the screen, Trump leading in the electoral race with 150 to Clinton's 109. This will be a very long night. We'll be here with you every step of the way, keeping a close eye on those very tight battleground races. More poll closings coming up. We invite you to stay with us. We'll be right back.
I didn't really know anything about my family history. Went to Ancestry. I put in the names of my grandparents first. I got a leaf right away. A leaf is a hint that is connected to each person in your family tree. I learned that my 10 times great grandmother is George Washington's aunt. Within a few days, I went from knowing almost nothing to, holy crow, I'm related to George Washington. This is my cousin George.
Discover your story. Start searching for free now at Ancestry.com.
We're quickly back from the break. We have a new projection. The state of Ohio, NBC News projects when the votes are counted, Ohio will go to Donald Trump. Donald Trump will win Ohio. Chuck Todd, you've been watching. Let's show you where that takes us in the race to 270 right now. As we come down on the ice, and right now it's 168 Trump, Clinton 109. You've been watching Florida. You don't think it's going well for Clinton there?
I don't, and I think North Carolina is trending Trump here. Look, first of all, Ohio, little historical nugget. Last time somebody didn't win the White House while winning Ohio was in 1960 and Richard Nixon. Ohio is, and no Republican, you have to win Ohio to win the White House. Trump has done it. Florida's trending his way. North Carolina's trending his way. I go back. This is, Luke Russert has already tweeted it. God love him. Michigan, Michigan, Michigan. We're going to be sitting here talking about Michigan.
Now,
Because
Ohio, agree. I was just going to say Ohio is one where the polls seem to have gotten it right because the polls have consistently shown a tight race, but Trump up a little bit. But as you mentioned, I mean, if he's going to put Florida in his column and Ohio, potentially North Carolina, now we're looking at the Rust Belt, Virginia, a little close for comfort for Clinton.
Look, the Clinton campaign bragged about these firewalls and these. Okay, well, let's see if you have one.
Well,
we're about to find out.
Let's see if they have one. Does Pennsylvania remain a firewall?
Pennsylvania is the one state that's so far performing as they expected, not underperforming. So really, all eyes are on Michigan. Although both New Hampshire and Nevada, those go ways that you're not sure, and then we start getting into the funky 269, 269. I'm not going to get there yet. Let's see how this night plays on. But look, there's still a ton of vote in Oakland County, Macomb County, and in Wayne County, which is Detroit. Here's what I can tell you about Michigan and those three. She's winning in Oakland. But not by about 10 points. He is killing it in Macomb right now by about 20. That's the old Reagan Democrat home out there. And then Wayne, of course, is Detroit, and we just don't know how much vote is in Wayne. Detroit has been a shrinking city, one of the few cities in America that's been shrinking, not expanding over the last decade.
She's going to need excellent Wayne County, and he'll do well in western Wayne County, which are working class suburbs, and Genesee, Flint, and she's going to really need to perform there because the rural stuff is going pretty well for him, and Oakland is not that big. It should be a little bigger.
Big enough. Yeah.
Are we seeing? Are there any signs of it that this? We've talked about the silent Trump vote, the ones that didn't show up on the radar in the polls.
I wouldn't call it silent. I think we underestimated the turnout in rural areas, and I think a lot of the polling underestimated it. So is it a silent Trump vote, or is it more it was there? It didn't activate during the primaries in these giant numbers, so I think there was too many of our pros, and I'd love to talk to our pollsters about it.
Base.
And it turns out these folks, they maxed out in rural America beyond maxing out.
It vindicates what Donald Trump has been saying about his rallies. Look at all these people. I got 20,000 people in this little tiny section of North Carolina or Michigan or wherever.
Look at Ohio. The governor of Ohio, a very popular guy, Governor Kasich, who has gone to war against Donald Trump during this entire election season. And Rob Portman, who ran away from him, a very popular senator. Trump comes into the state and wins it. I mean, that tells you something that is extraordinary that is going on. Conventional politics ain't in play anymore, folks.
Yeah. All right. In his places, they're on steroids. It is huge amounts of numbers.
We've got to take a quick break here. We're going to be back more as we continue. But again, Ohio is the latest one in the Trump portfolio as we watch that race to 270 on our ice at Democracy Plaza. We'll be right back.
This is a special Decision 2016 update from News 4.
Hello again. A live look once again at the White House right now. It is election night, and people all over America are watching the battleground states, including Virginia, where the race is still very tight. But the lead has shifted in the last few minutes to show Hillary Clinton leading in Virginia, as Lester Holt, Chuck Todd, and team have been showing you all night.